Hey everyone, it's Angie. Welcome to Tuesdays with a Twist, breakfast for dinner. So tonight we are making fluffy French toast with fruit salsa and scrambled eggs. And of course, just like all summer, I know everyone is kind of crazy, and I think I might be the only one on tonight because I think a bunch of you messaged and said just to pop in the recording. So totally understand. Summer's crazy. I hope you're out doing what you love and you can make this whenever it's convenient for you. So today we have lots of different ingredients. We have, I have on the stove over behind me, we have lots of tools. I have two frying pans. I have a sheet pan that's going to keep our French toast warm. We have apples, kiwi, blueberry, strawberry for our fruit salsa. We have some flour and sugar, milk, eggs, vanilla extract, cinnamon, some toast, some bread, and then our stars of the show today, of course, our duo, seasoned salt and seasoned pepper, and spinach and herb. I hope you guys have enjoyed having breakfast for dinner. I know it's something we all really enjoy. I actually got to take and share the frittata that we made last week and the hash browns with my family when I went to Pennsylvania, and it was a huge success. Everyone loved it. We even had leftover hash browns, and so we made a breakfast burrito for some of the kids, and of course that was a huge hit too. So just something different, something to switch from the normal of what we're gonna have for dinner. So tonight, super excited, fluffy French toast. So let's get started. As always, I'm going to put my hands down here so that you can see what I'm doing, the camera down here. And we're going to start with our French toast mixture. So what we're going to do is actually prepare our French toast mixture, prepare our fruit salsa and our scrambled eggs, and then we'll cook it all separately. So first, into a flat bowl, you want to make sure it's a flat bowl so that your bread can flip once it is saturated to get all the seasonings on it. You are going to mix your flour. So you need 1/4 cup of flour. Please remember when you're using your flour, you do not pack flour. So you just want to spoon it in very gently and kind of have an even. You don't want to push it down. You don't really want to pack it in like you would brown sugar. So we're going to put 1/4 cup of flour right in our bowl, and then we're going to move that out of the way. To that, we're going to whisk in 1 cup of milk. Today we are using Fairlife. I've heard great reviews about this. We're usually an almond milk family, but I want to try this one. So we are using 1 cup of milk, and we are going to measure that right in to our flour. Of course, we're going to pour very carefully. This bowl is going to get full. Okay, so we have 1/4 cup flour, 1 cup of milk. We're going to whisk really slowly to incorporate the flour with your milk. And then we're going to add a pinch of seasoned salt. It's not completely incorporated yet, but we're going to keep stirring because we have lots of different things we're going to add. So that's good enough for right now. A pinch of seasoned salt. So I'm just going to do a little shaky shake pinch. We're going to add 3 eggs. So I do have a garbage bowl here that I'm going to crack my eggs right into this. And then I will put the egg shells right into my garbage bowl. 3 eggs. I know we talked about it last week. I still have not mastered cracking an egg with one hand. Hopefully I will be able to one day, but right now I still have to use both hands. Again, this dish is kind of shallow, so you want to make sure that you don't make a mess. So whisk with intention and don't get it all over the place. I like to whisk just in the middle and then kind of pull the outside in. I still have a little bit of flour on the outside, so I'm going to make sure that all gets incorporated as well, and those eggs get broken up. So in addition to that, we are going to put 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. My family does like cinnamon, so I'm actually going to use about a teaspoon. So I'm actually going to double the cinnamon. It's up to you what you and your family like, but we do like cinnamon, so I put a little bit more in there. We're also going to do 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So it called for 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, like I said, but I used a full teaspoon. And so it's up to you if you like cinnamon or not. and then a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And now we're going to do a tablespoon of white sugar. And then I will repeat all of those to you. So again, we have our 1/4 cup flour. I'm just going to whisk while I talk. 1/4 cup flour, 1 cup of milk, a pinch or a sprinkle of seasoned salt, 3 eggs, 1/2 up to 1 full teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 1 tablespoon of sugar. And that was just plain white sugar. So again, some of my flour is still kind of clumpy, and that's going to be okay. We're going to whisk it again once we are getting ready to dip our bread. Right now, we're going to whisk it as much as we can, and then we are going to set this aside and let that all marry for a few minutes. Okay, so I am going to let this go, move it gently to the side, and I'm going to start my fruit salsa. So I just have a bowl. You can put your fruit salsa in anything you want. I'm going to use what the ingredients called for. I have 1 apple, I have 1 kiwi, I have strawberries and blueberries. Of course, you do whatever your family likes. If you have something else in hand, please just use what you have on hand. If you love bananas and you want to add bananas, go right ahead. If you have peaches or cherries, you can add that too. So the fruit salsa can be anything you want it to be. I do have a fresh lemon because we are going to put some lemon juice on that. But again, it's whatever you want. So right now we're just going, I'm going to put this right here so you can see into it. We're just going to cut up all the fruit for our fruit salsa. Again, your family's preference. I do have an apple. I'm going to leave the skin on my apple. If your family does not like apple, you can definitely peel it. But we're just going to cut it right down. I like to cut it away from the core. And then, of course, this core I will throw right into our garbage bowl. I always feel the pieces where the core were, and if it still feels a little bit, then I go back with my knife and get that sharpness out. Especially on this side, I don't want to waste the apple, so I cut pretty close. But then sometimes you need to go back in with a sharp knife and just get that extra little piece of core out of there. Just that way I don't, just what I've always done. You don't ruin it that way. Okay, and then for our apple, we want these little tiny pieces. So I'm going to cut mine into slices, and then I will cut them into diced pieces. So it's however you want your apple to be. Okay, this is how I'm going to do mine. It looks like it's still together. And then I'm going to do little tiny pieces like this. However you wish to dice your apple is okay. If you like a green tart apple, you definitely can use that. I think these are Pink Ladies, so they're a little bit sweeter. Again, it's whatever size you want. Mine aren't really diced. They're kind of more like sticks, just because that's how I cut my apple, and that is okay. Again, this does not need to be perfect for your fruit salsa. It's all going to taste delicious. And then I'll do my 2 ends together before I do the other side. The addition of the apple is really nice because it gives it a little bit of crunch. So your blueberries and your kiwi and your strawberries are all going to be a softer fruit, obviously. And so that having that apple just gives it a nice crunch. That is not normal in a fruit salad, so it's a nice treat. Then I'm going to do the other half. Again, if you have mango or peaches or plums, by all means, use whatever you have in the house. You can even, if you decide to make this again in the winter and it's off season, you can absolutely use frozen vegetables to make your fruit salsa as well. It will be a little more syrupy because it'll throw natural sugars and water, but it will be delicious. Okay, so into our bowl, we have our apples, and I'm going to say diced, but really, again, mine aren't diced. Mine are kind of like little strips more so. So we have our apple completely done. Now we're going to do our kiwi. If you have never had a kiwi, of course, the outside is nice and furry, but the inside is a very, very pretty green. I just cut it and do a very, very thin layer to get that section off. So however you want, I always laugh because at this kids' school, they will give them a kiwi at lunch. And the kids have no idea how to eat a kiwi. And so I always think that's hilarious. And so my daughter, who's now in high school, loves kiwi. And so when we buy kiwi, it comes with a little kiwi spoon. Let me see if I can find it for you, actually. It comes, so here. So the kiwi, if you buy it in like a plastic container and you get like 6 or 8 kiwi at once, it comes with a little spoon so they can cut their kiwi in half and then a spoon so they can eat out of it like eat out the center of it, which I think is pretty cool. They don't give you that at the school, so it's a little bit harder to eat, but we have that here at home, so we always use that. Okay, then we're going to dice our kiwi. I'm gonna do looks like 5 slices, and then I will stack 2 and stack 3. And again, these ones I am just going to do in long strips, and then again in just really fully diced to get a nice good bite. Sometimes your kiwis are very sweet and sometimes they are very tart. It depends on the year, the time of year. You really can't, it's hard to say how to pick a kiwi. There's not really a method to the madness. And if you have one, please let me know. Okay, so the kiwi's gonna go right in there with the apple. The blueberries, we're going to do a 1/2 cup. Look how big these blueberries are. They're absolutely huge. But we are gonna do 1/2 cup and put it right in. All my fruit is washed. I washed it as soon as we get home from the store, and then I let it dry in the containers. Sometimes I take it out of the containers too. So I'm gonna do a heaping blueberry because I know blueberries are a popular one in my family. So we have 1/2, and I'm gonna eat one too. And it was a sour one. Okay. So we have our blueberries. And then for our strawberries, it says 1 cup of strawberries. And so again, it's going to depend however you want. We got these nice ones. I always take my strawberry and I cut out the center piece. But then sometimes if I cut too much, I will keep those little ends because I don't want to waste a lot of the strawberries. I know a lot of kids, if you don't cut them for them, they only eat like the top and they leave so much. So we are going to cut it in half and then dice up our strawberry into about the same size as the kiwi was. Again, I took out the middle and then I saved the little ends. Always they look like little hearts usually when I cut out the middle. Then I take it straight down. Since this one is so big, I am going to do a double cut. And again, because you don't want your bite of fruit to only be one strawberry. You want to be able to get a few of the different flavors of the fruit you have in there. So that's why we have small dices for the fruit salsa. This fruit salsa, of course, is going to be absolutely delicious on our French toast. However, it's also very good with some pita chips or some cinnamon sugar chips. You can get them at the store. I know the Stacy's Pita Chips brand makes a delicious cinnamon sugar chip, and it's so good with this fruit salsa. You can take our Oh My Chai is back, which is one of my favorite drink mixes. But you can take our Oh My Chai and you can make your own tortilla chips, and this fruit salsa is excellent on that as well. So again, you're just cutting up your strawberries. There's no rhyme nor reason until we get about a cup. Some of your strawberries are going to be bigger than others. So whatever you feel like is a good amount. If your family is not strawberry people, skip the strawberries. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to make it the way your family is going to like it. So yes, it's so important to try new things, but if you know there's something they love or something they hate and stay away from, by all means, we don't want to waste anything. Okay, so I'm going to do a few more strawberries. And of course, it's going to go right in with our apples and our blueberries as well. Let's do one more. I think it's probably going to be about a cup. Again, I take that little center out, I cut the around the green. You don't want any of the strawberry leaves in there. Okay. We have it diced. Let's see about how much we have. That's a half. Let's see. I say I might have put one strawberry too many, and there's no such thing. So we're going to throw that right in. We're good to go. I'm going to rinse my hands. All right. So we have our apple, our kiwi, our strawberries, our blueberries. We are going to put a little bit of cinnamon in here, and it does call for a fourth a cup. I'm just going to do a sprinkle. I'm sorry, a fourth a teaspoon. Big difference. Not a fourth a cup, a fourth a teaspoon of cinnamon. And then it calls for your lemon juice. So for the lemon juice, it calls for, let me see how much it calls for. 1/4 teaspoon of lemon juice, which is very little. So I'm going to cut this, just the end of it off. As you can see, I am not cutting it in half. I'm pulling out the seeds. It is much less than half. I'm going to put it in my squeezer. You can use your hand if you don't, and just squeeze it right in. And I know that was a fourth a teaspoon of lemon juice in there. So that's all we need. We don't need any more lemon. Rinse my hand off. Put that to the side. And then we have our fruit salsa. And we are just going to mix that up. That lemon juice will just help your apples so they don't turn brown. It'll also, the tartness will help the fruit release some natural flavors. That cinnamon is going to, oh my goodness. You guys, this smells amazing. Ooh, love it. So you can see right in there. And now we're going to set this aside as well. So we made our French toast batter. We set that aside. We made our fruit salsa. We set that aside. What I want you to do right now is put your griddle, if you have a griddle, we're going to turn it on before we crack our eggs. Now we want this to be warm. So I'm going to turn it on, but I'm only going to turn it on 5. So I have right in the middle. So it's pretty, I would say like low, medium low. I'm going to turn mine on 5 just to let that start getting heated while we make our scrambled egg mixture. Okay. So again, I'm going to get rid of my cutting board. I have a bowl that this is all going to go into. Okay. Our frying pan is heating up. Okay. But right now, what we're going to do is take the remaining 9 eggs, and crack them right into the bowl. This is going to be our mixture for our scrambled eggs. These are going to cook up really fast. So we aren't going to use this till the end, but that way we want everything prepped so that we can eat as soon as your French toast is ready. Okay. So 9 eggs. That's 3, 4, 5. Make sure there's no shells in there. 6. Sound didn't want to come out. 6, 7, 8, and 9. And if you're having some difficulty with your eggs or you need more time, since you guys are all watching this on repeat, just go right ahead and pause me until you get all 9 of those cracked. It's no problem at all. Okay, wipe off my hands. So now into our bowl, we have 9 eggs. What we're going to add now is 1/4 teaspoon of seasoned salt. Okay, a 1/4 a teaspoon. I'm going to do a shake, 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 shake. You're going to do some seasoned pepper to taste. So whatever your family likes to taste. Okay. Oops, I have some berries on my hand. And then you're going to do some spinach and herb. And it calls for 1 tablespoon of spinach and herb, which is half of your capful. Okay. So if you want to measure it, you measure it in your capful, half of your capful, dump it right in. And then it's also going to call for 2 tablespoons of milk. So this milk is just going to help your eggs get nice and fluffy. 1, 2 tablespoons of milk. Okay. Now I do have my whisk inside my French toast, so I'm going to grab another one. If you don't have a second whisk, that's totally okay. You can go ahead and use a fork to break it up. But we're going to whisk these all together. Again, we have 9 eggs, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, seasoned pepper to taste, depending on your family's preferences. I like to whisk. I kind of tilt my bowl and hold it firmly and then go fast. So if you don't want it coming out of your bowl, so if you aren't whisking fast, that's okay. Just make sure you have 5 sides. So again, I'm sorry, 9 eggs, 1/4 teaspoon seasoned salt, seasoned pepper to taste, depending on your family's preferences, 1 tablespoon of spinach and herb, and 2 tablespoons of milk. Okay, so the eggs are done. Our salsa's done, put away. The eggs are done. We're going to put them over here for now because when we need them from the stove, we'll just grab them and then we can pour them right in the frying pan. So now we're going to go back to our French toast mixture. As you can see, it started to settle again. So you're going to need to whisk that again. So the recipe called for thick bread. I don't know about you guys, I couldn't find thick bread. So I just bought the Farmhouse Sweet Hawaiian. You can use any kind of bread you want. I got the Sweet Hawaiian since it does have that little, my kids love, just pop the little thing. My kids love Hawaiian rolls, so I thought this would make excellent, excellent French toast. So we're going to open it up. But before I dip my bread, I'm going to check my frying pan. And then you can either use butter spray. So I just put my hand over top of it to hover. You can use butter spray, or you can use a tablespoon of butter to spread all over your pan so that your French toast doesn't melt. So if your butter starts to melt and the butter is a little bit sizzly, you know it's ready to go. The way I do it, I'm going to take this butter and put it right back over here and show you. And I'm going to use the rest of that butter later. So then I will rebutter that. Okay, so I'm going to, you know what? Let me show you how to dip it. So this can be a tricky part. You want to make sure you have room so you're not dripping all over the place. So I'm going to move my whisk just onto a paper towel. You're going to take your bread and you're going to dip it in. Okay? Let it get some bread, let it get some saturation, and flip it over. Okay? Now, I'm going to move the computer first so that you guys can see me. Okay? I have that getting nice and hot, but I also have this cookie sheet right here. For right now, that's where I'm going to move my bowl so that I don't spill any of my bread when I go to put it on my frying pan. Okay? So I'm going to keep the loaf of bread over here so that I can grab it, but all of this here. So now it's wet, it's goopy, it's a little bit saturated. We take it, and once it's on there, now I'm turning that up to 7. Now, depending on the size of your frying pan, you might get 2 or 3 pieces on at once, okay? The reason I had you get a cookie sheet is because unless you have someone who's waiting to eat right now, you don't want these first few pieces to get cold, okay? So what I'm gonna have you do is preheat your oven, just right now, to 200. 200 is a warming oven, and that will keep this French toast nice and warm until you finish all 12 slices. Okay. I'm going to grab a paper towel. So as you can see, I have my little dipping station. I can only fit 3 on my griddle. I have that here. So what I have is a cookie sheet. And when this is done, putting it on top of my eggs now, I'm going to flip these over in a few minutes. I'm going to put it on there and then stick it right in the oven so that it doesn't get cold, okay? So my oven is on 200. It won't take any time at all to preheat to 200. That's just the keeping it warm. I do have a rubber spatula, a flat spatula ready so that I can flip this over in a few minutes. Um, and then we're just going to work in batches, okay? So, depending on your bread and how much room you have time for, that's just going to cook maybe a minute on one side. Because I turned it up to 7, it'll cook a little bit faster. So let's go ahead and see how it looks. Not yet. You'll be able to tell it smells delicious though. If you have syrup or powdered sugar, I know my kids like whipped cream. Of course, you can use all of that to top as well, in addition to your fruit salsa. Okay. Gonna give that about 30 more seconds. And then we'll flip it over. If we need to flip it back, you kind of want to flip as least amount as possible, but of course you don't want to burn it. So we're going to take it, flip it over, and it has that beautiful brown flavor. I'm sorry, beautiful brown color. Of course, I did that one first. That's why I flipped that one first. As you can see, this bread is pretty big. It's not regular sandwich bread, so it's a little bit bigger than normal sandwich bread. You had a square skillet, it might work a little bit easier to flip it, but you want that nice, lovely brown coloring. Now, for my cookie sheet, I'm not putting anything on here. There's no spray, there's no parchment, there's nothing on here. Like I said, I'm just gonna keep that when these 3 are done. I'm gonna put this in here and put it right in the oven to keep it warm. Okay. If you have kids that want to eat now, like I know some Saturday, Sunday mornings, or sometimes when we're doing it, first 3 to sit down, get the first 3 pieces, and then we just keep going. But we're all going to sit together tonight, so I want to keep it warm in the oven, okay? Whatever your preference is, okay? So once you see it smoking, you can flip it back over and see if it needs. So this one, because the brown is on one side, just gonna flip that one. Same thing with this one, get the middle towards it, and those look super nice. Okay. I'm going to give it another few minutes. Each one will take a little bit longer, a little bit less and less time. So right now that I'm here, now that we kind of have a system, I did turn mine up to 8 so that it is going to get the griddle nice and warm, okay? We want to make sure the next one that comes on, we don't burn it though, okay? So now that I think these are pretty good, we're going to flip them out on there, flip them out. And these 3, again, right now, pan is warm, not warm, so it's going to go right in the oven without a pot holder. Next time, I'm going to go into the oven with pot holder, okay? I'm re-dipping the bread. Now, this is a little hotter. I can see it smoke. I'm turning it down to 7. Dipping it on both sides and getting it on that nice hot griddle. Kind of shaking it off a little bit. Same thing on the other side. And again, these are going to cook a lot faster than those other first ones. So please, please, please do not burn them. I have my wiping my hands off. Okay. And like I said, my bread was really, really big. So I'm not sure I'm going to have enough batter for all 12 pieces because I did buy the bigger bread. So we're going to do whatever I have room for. You guys do whatever you have room for, okay? I'm going to flip it over and look how much faster the color came on this set, okay? Your griddle is hot. If you don't like how fast it came, by all means, turn it down. You do not need to keep it up that high. I am going to get a pot holder though, so that when these three are done, I can put them right in the oven. But of course, now I'm not going to grab that pan now that it's hot. Okay, so again, I put butter on the first round, and then this round I did not put butter on. I'm going to put a little bit more after this because I don't want it to stick. You can usually get 2 sets in between. If you have spray, cooking spray, and you prefer that, definitely go right ahead. Okay, I'm gonna flip it and look. Looks pretty good. Yep. I'm just checking to make sure. These ones also have a much more even than the first time. I think it was because it wasn't hot enough the first time. They just had a little bit of a difference. There's my oven. It's already preheated to 200. Didn't matter. I already put them in anyway. These are gonna get that nice golden brown. And then I'm gonna put them with my pot holder. Now, of course, I am also going to just make a little bit of room on here. It's okay if they overlap a little bit. Okay. We're going to pull it off, put it on, pull it off. Ah, it slid right off my griddle. And put it right on. And then this is going back into the oven to stay warm. Like I just said, I had that extra little piece of butter from the first time. I am going to put that on here. Look how hot this one is this time. This will also help to pull it down so you don't burn anything. And then I'm going to take my next one right in, soak it on both sides, and right to my hot griddle. Okay. I can see the smoke. I'm turning it down a little tiny bit so that it's not as hot. I can always tell if it's going to get too hot. And we're going to get one more. So we're going to get 9 out of our mixture because my bread was bigger. If you have enough for all 12, by all means, go right ahead. Okay, that's all I have room for. So I'm going to push this over here. Go ahead. That was Aubrey. She's hungry and wants to know when dinner is. And she was sign languaging to me and she just ran. So I had to try and get her. Okay, so we're flipping these ones over already. Perfect. So we did get 9 out of mine. Like I said, our bread was extra big. We can either make more filling or we can just, it is for the class tonight. I'm just going to do this as is with these last 3 pieces so that Aubrey can get fed. Okay. Oh, smells so good. Okay, again, I don't want to, the last one, you want to make sure you don't burn. So again, it's much hotter the last time. Okay. And then I have another large frying pan out that we're going to put on the heat so that we can make our scrambled eggs. So make sure if you don't have that, you can go ahead and grab that out. I'm going to pull out our cookie sheet. I have my hot plate and I'm going to get these last 3. They're going to go right on top. Right on top. and then in the oven. Okay. So I have a whole tray of those in the oven. The hot griddle is coming off using my pot holder. Now the cold frying pan is going on the heat. So I didn't touch my heat. I'm leaving my heat on. Um, I'm leaving my heat. I'm so sorry. I'm leaving my heat on, and we're going to make our eggs, which of course are already in that bowl over there. So you can use oil or you can use butter. Since I have the butter sitting here, I actually have the oil sitting here too. I'm just going to use that for my eggs. I have a rubber spatula because I like to make sure I can get everything. Will not take long since the burner was already on. So we're going to spread the butter around. And then I'm going to grab my egg mixer, which we already have. Our 9 eggs, our spinach and herb, our salt and pepper. I'm going to give it one last whisk before I pour it in. So I did turn this down to a 6 because, again, I don't want to cook my eggs too fast. I like them to be cooked low and slow. Okay. So, cleaning up over here for a second. So all you do for your scrambled eggs, we did this last time too, you push it around. So I go the whole way around, right across the middle. I like to cook my scrambled eggs nice and slow, but I do it constantly. I do a constant stir. I feel like when you do a constant, and I say stir, but really it's a constant push. I feel like they get nice and fluffy this way. I'm pushing pretty hard against the bottom of my frying pan because I don't want the eggs getting stuck to the bottom of the frying pan. And depending on your frying pan, you might not be able to prevent that. I know sometimes frying pans just stick even if you spray or even if you coat. So just keep going around, pushing it constantly back and forth. You'll be able to hear it when it's sticking. If it is, just kind of give it a little ruffle. When you're doing it constantly like that too, it prevents the sticking. They are looking nice and fluffy. Just go back and forth. See how there's a little sticky? Just kind of scrape it. Like I said, sometimes it will do that. But now our French toast is staying warm. Our eggs are going to be hot. Our salsa is ready. We have some syrup and some whipped cream, maybe some powdered sugar, depending on what you like. And now we have big, fluffy eggs. Oh my goodness, this looks amazing. I like my eggs, oops, I just splashed myself. I like the eggs a little wet. So I'm going to turn my heat off. You can see they're wet, they're a little bit shiny. That's how I like to cook ours. Because by the time everyone actually gets plated, the heat will finish the rest. One piece jumped out, gonna put it back in. Remove it off the heat. Okay, now we have 2 hot pans, so you gotta be extra careful. Taking it off the heat. Our eggs. Our French toast. And our fruit salsa. We're gonna plate it up. The French toast, the fruit salsa is gonna go right on top. Again, depending on the kid, they'll either get powdered sugar or whipped cream or syrup. And dinner is made. And that was 6:10, 40 minutes. Dinner, Tuesdays with a twist, breakfast for dinner. Okay, guys, next week is our last Tuesday with a twist. And we will be making biscuits and gravy. So I'm super excited how to teach you guys how to make a roux and make that gravy. It'll be so delicious. I look forward to it. Make sure when you watch the replay, you send me your pictures. I know around here, some of you are already starting school. I know those of you that live in Georgia, you guys are already starting. Pennsylvania, you still have another week to go. My kids have 2 weeks. So here, Norfolk goes back next week, and Virginia Beach is 2 weeks on the 25th. So enjoy your last week or two of summer, and send me your pictures of your dinner, and I will see you guys next week. Bye, everyone. Have a great, great day.